Hey guys, it's Jack here, and that's right, it's time for another Batman adventure, and we can't thank you all for joining us for this special episode. Now, a little behind the scenes fact, this episode was originally supposed to come out last year, but guess what wasn't on our side?
Timing!
But we had a little bit of time during our Jurassic Park Legacy Reviews finale to squeeze in not just a Halloween special, but a brand new Batman adventure. But I couldn't have done it with everybody's support on this one, including the likes of TODD, Bennett, ALLANNA Roses, the entire cast and crew, and our supporters on Patreon. If you guys want to go donate to the channel, just $1 more will get you early access to all of our content as well as other special features. We're posting a lot more on there, and on top of that, we're going to come up with some new tiers down the line. But after this, it's full sailing on Jurassic World Dominion. So once again, thank you for watching this episode, enjoyed the show, and as always, back to the Big Jack Cave! Sorry, Brad! Sorry! The following is a fan-based video review under fair use. Batman Mask of the Phantasm is owned by Warner Bros. Discovery, Warner Bros. Pictures, Warner Bros. Animation, HBO Max, Eric Radomski, Bruce Timm, Alan Burnett, DC Comics, and the Bob Kane estate. Please support the official release and streaming services. It's been 1 week since the war was relit. Things seem stable for now, but not in Gotham City. The city has been returned to the criminal underworld, leaving my allies here on full-time night shifts. And I'm here too, keeping my guard up. Gabler's meddling broke out all in Arkham. About 5% are back in, but the other 95%, oh boy. The war here for the city's soul has gained fuel. By day, it's petty crimes. By night, it's hell. I'm choosing my time here carefully on a crunch. I need to make a quiet trade deal to acquire advanced tech for the new transporter. I only left it to one man. A man I can trust, but a man who is hard to find. He hides in the shadows, keeping his true identity in mystery. As do I.
Hello. Nice.
From the outside in, I keep my enemies close, and my friends closer.
Old wounds never fully heal. That's the old saying told around Gotham these days on tonight's report. The trouble started recently after a mysterious light appeared doming off Arkham Asylum, leaving the facility empty. The asylum head supervisor for the criminally insane, Dr. Edward Nygma, formerly cured of his altered ego, the Riddler, had also disappeared during the incident. This comes after recent news sightings of the Batman and even the boy wonder Robin, who have been patrolling the streets with the assistance with Gotham PD led by Chief Detective Bullock, who had no comment. More troubling is the continuing search for the whereabouts of former District Attorney Harvey Two-Face after a failed bank robbery foiled by the Batman, as well as the disappearance of the asylum's most secured patient, the Joker. Will the Dark Knight of our fair city capture the clown prince of crime? Or will Gotham City once again fall to the fires of the criminal underworld? Only time will tell. In another news today, Superman meets with billionaire Bruce Wayne to discuss a new space program at Wayne Enterprises to better study further space travel after strange anomalies were discovered by NASA, recently bought by LexCorp.
The criminals in this city are a superstitious, cowardly lot, so I must find that which strikes terror into their hearts. I must find the creature of the night, the silent guardian and watchful protector. In order to find a shadow, I must become the shadows. To find vengeance, to find the night, to find the Batman.
Hi there, BigJackFilms isn't here at the moment due to his duties at Jurassic Park. But he has left a previous recording and AI host for you to enjoy.
BigJackFilms here, and welcome back to another review and another Halloween special. It's not easy when you see your heroes fall. Some from tragedy, controversy, or even succumb to death by means beyond our control. And in 2022, a few of our heroes that dominated the 90s left us way too soon. The first being the legendary voice actor Kevin Conroy. He started acting on a few things early in his career, but there's only one role he was known for. That, of course, being the prominent voice of the legendary Dark Knight, Batman. And I see no better way to honor the great man than by taking a look at the staple of 90s TV animation with Batman the Animated Series. I agree with most on this one that Batman the Animated Series is one of the best adaptations of the Caped Crusader to date. Spanning 4 seasons, crossovers, a few movies, spin-offs, and even a recent continuation of the series in comic book form, it's easy to see just how rich and detailed the show was in creating a wider mythology in the Batman world. With outstanding animation, an amazing voice cast, and introducing the world to some of Batman's greatest foes, including Harley Quinn making her first debut in the show itself, and that career has quite the poker face ahead of her, especially on our end. Drive!
10 points! Come on, Quinn.
Help!
You just keep smiling for me, Kay?
We still keep in touch. It's left quite a history for DC Comics, Batman fans, and for television as well. Airing on Fox Kids back on September 5th, 1992, with On Leather Wings featuring one of the most underrated villains, the Man-Bat, the series was an instant smash, coming off the success of the 2 Tim Burton movies and input from Steven Spielberg nonetheless, after establishing a new animation establishment at Warner Brothers with Tiny Toons and Animaniacs, outside of also failing with Amblimation at Universal. And with that, the show had everything, with a perfect balance of dark and gothic, while also being funny and cartoony. It was a perfect blend of the 2 tones, allowing a Batman for all ages to enjoy. And on Christmas Day 1993, a year after the first season's success, the Caped Crusader made his big screen debut in animated form, creating what some have credited as one of the best Batman movies of all time, despite the fact the film bombed at the box office. But does the money count on its criticisms? Well, in honor of Kevin Conroy, and given the fact that DC is no stranger to us here with Halloween specials, let's find out as we take a look at the psychological crime drama simply known as Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. Taking place after the first season, the movie opens with an action-packed bang right away, with the Batman, voiced by Kevin Conroy, prowling the night skies in Gotham City, taking out a crime gang up to no good, with their boss Chucky Saw, voiced by Dick Miller. But Batman soon finds out there's another vigilante in town knocking off many prominent mob figures, and unlike Batman himself, kills them in some pretty brutal death scenes. Despite the scythe-like blade for a hand, the mechanical voice, and the cloud of smoke that follows the figure wherever it goes, it seems that the underworld of Gotham City is at the mercy of the mysterious Phantasm, voiced by Stanley Ketch. Some of the Gotham police and outraged officials mistake the homicidal crusader for Batman himself, and demand that the city's longtime hero be brought to justice, despite the disbelief of Batman's only ally and chief, Commissioner Gordon, voiced by Bob Hastings. Meanwhile, bachelorette babe Andrea Beaumont, voiced by Dana Delany, returns to Gotham after years of absence, who turns out in a series of flashbacks is the long-lost love of Bruce Wayne, the billionaire playboy and Batman's alter ego, who was an integral part of Wayne's decision 10 years earlier to don the cape and cowl. Now she's back in his life, and is no less a disruption than the Phantasm for the Dark Knight. But there's double trouble for Gotham as we see the return of Batman's old archenemy, the Joker, voiced by Mark Hamill, who strikes up a deadly deal with the remaining mobsters and has a stake in seeing the annihilation of this new vigilante, and much like Batman, is determined to discover whoever the Phantom proves to be. So, as a follow-up to the success of the animated series, does Mask of the Phantasm deserve the recognition of being one of the best Batman movies? Well, the short answer, in my opinion, much like everyone else, is a massive bat yes. While in no way compared to the live-action movies in terms of high-quality filmmaking, animation and story-wise, it's a masterpiece and one of the best Batman stories to date. In fact, Robert Pattinson, the most recent live-action actor to play Batman in the Matt Reeves films, stated this to be his favorite Batman movie, which goes to show how much the film's impact has left for 30 years. And unlike the live-action films, which come off as more straight-up action movies, this is one of the few Batman films to be a perfect adaptation of everything the characters and stories are known for. It's not just an amazing animated action flick, it's dark, gritty, full of drama, down to earth, full of emotion, and mostly a crime film. It's not just Batman hunched down looking all dark and moody, scratching his voice to intimidate criminals. It shows him being as creators Bob Kane and Bill Finger described him as the world's greatest detective. Coming off as an epic gothic episode of something like Criminal Minds, but also acting almost as a precursor to the later Christopher Nolan trilogy, with flashbacks and origins to the character and why he became the Batman.
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
And in this movie, Batman is awesome. We saw what he was capable of in the two Burton movies and the first season of the animated series, but in this film, it not only takes all the best aspects of the character's abilities from gadgets, vehicles, and fight scenes, but gave Batman a lot of emotional weight, and in some instances, moods we don't really see him in on film. He can be brutal, angry, and intimidating for sure, but there's times in this film we see him in lower points of frustrations with his love life and desperate attempts to find the Phantasm, but also weak and defeated in a lot of scenes, even almost getting killed and captured on occasions. And Bruce Wayne, his true ego, holy shit is sympathetic. While battling his demons and depression regarding the death of his parents keeps him stable and is well in control of it, the loss of his former love adds another layer of why he took up the mantle. The movie, in a way, feels like Christmas classics like It's a Wonderful Life, or to some extent in flashbacks to Scrooge's past in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, with a man vowed to never love again and detach himself from relationships.
He looks more like the ghost of Christmas future. Nowhere near as cute as Batboy.
Is that why this movie was released on Christmas Day, because it was giving them Jimmy Stewart vibes?
We come back here, have Christmas dinner, and watch It's a Wonderful Life.
I've never seen that. I could never get past the title.
I guess that makes it the second Batman Christmas special? Well, third if you count Christmas with the Joker.
And the Joker got
Son of a
Making the character he dons as the Batman much more intimidating, knowing he has nothing to fear or lose, becoming an unstoppable force against evil.
This madness ends now.
Props have to be given to not only the late Kevin Conroy's amazing voice work, but also the writers who had major balls in creating this story and giving such depth to the character, especially in an animated film made for kids nonetheless. But granted, this is one of the few examples where animation is not just aimed at children, but for everybody. In fact, this movie was mostly common as part of the Warner Brothers family features, marketing it to both kids and adults.
You had me bugged, is that it?
I can read lips.
Kevin to this day was one of the best actors to play Batman, and it really shows in this film. It's hard not to disagree for a lot of people that he is the definitive voice of the Dark Knight. From the show's continuation, expanded universe, up to the recent games and cameos in other media. It's honestly hard to believe that it's been close to 2 years since he's gone. I had the privilege to meet him at Fan Expo at the same time as Adam West and Burt Ward nonetheless. Ironically, Adam and Kevin teaming up in one of the best episodes of the series with Beware the Grey Ghost. Seriously, watch that episode. It's a great collaboration between the old and the new. To me, despite my love for Keaton, Pattinson, among others, it's really tough to see the best actors to play Batman on television leave us so soon, with Kevin being a heavy hitter, and I think for a lot of people, this scene with Bruce at his parents' gravesite is the highlight of Kevin's career as the legendary hero, conflicted with his vow to avenge his parents and a normal life with the blossoming love. It's one of the most iconic moments in any Batman movie, with the stormy night and Bruce begging to be free of his vow in order to have a normal life. It's a complete opposite to the vow he would make at the comics, and trust me when I say, it's goddamn powerful.
I know I made a promise, but I didn't see this coming. I didn't count on being happy.
I think this is the first time, and really one of the few times in the filmography, that Batman is the central character, both as a person and as a figure, fully fleshed out on the silver screen. It's his movie after all, and he's not overshadowed by overly cast villains.
I'm grateful, of course.
Which, speaking of, let's talk about the many villains in this movie. To be honest, this Batman movie might hold the record as one of the most villains for the film series, but The Dark Knight kinda did the same thing. You have two shining villains in the spotlight, but also some great mob bosses, also adding a lot to the film's plot. The mob bosses in the movie, while picked off and only act as cameos, do have some great voices behind them, like Hart Bochner as the cocky, corrupt Arthur Reeves, which he was also in the Supergirl movie as Ethan, John P. Ryan as Bonds Bronski, and even Godfather veteran Abe Vigoda as the head of the old gangs. All of them not only give great voices to the snakes of Gotham, but each get brutal deaths and comeuppance. I should mention as a side note, I do like that the Batman movies are now hiring actors who were in all these great crime movies of the 70s and 80s. We had Robert De Niro in Joker, the amazing Eric Roberts in The Dark Knight. All that's missing is Al Pacino. Though I've heard rumors that Falcone in The Batman was written for Pacino, but Pacino turned it down, so they brought in Stanley Tucci instead. Which, when you watch his performance, does feel like it was written exactly for Pacino. Not to mention taking a lot from one of my favorite Batman comics, The Untold Legends.
His father saved my life. I got shot in the chest. Operated right on the dining room table.
You're Lou Moxon, the bank robber the police are after. Yeah, one of them winged me. And I want you to remove the slug.
Dad knew that once he extracted the bullet, Moxon would never let him live. He saw only one way to save himself. He took it.
Of course, let's talk about the Phantasm. Now, this is a little tricky given details would go into major spoilers, but let's just say this villain really lives up to his name, and is a chilling and haunting threat to Gotham, keeping his motives and identity a major mystery, and unlike any other villain in Batman's Rogues Gallery. The design is spectacular and a cross between Darth Vader and Death, even to the scythe being on the arm rather than a staff. It's just a cool looking character without giving too much away. Plus, I love all the times the mobsters confuse him with Batman.
Batman! How'd you get here? It's the Bat! It's the stinking Bat!
But while I don't want to discuss spoilers regarding the main villain of the Phantasm right now, we'll talk about that later, let's talk about our secondary villain, and Batman's greatest foe with the Joker. Now, while it felt like a studio note to put him in the film, as well as a safe bet out of all the Batman villains, there's no denying that for a lot of people, including myself, much like Kevin Conroy, that this is the best incarnation of the Clown Prince of Crime. And Mark Hamill delivered one of his greatest roles next to Luke Skywalker. I know a lot of people love Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and Joaquin Phoenix take on the character, and nothing against them, they all do wonders in the frights and laughs.
No, not you, Seamus.
Ah, poo.
But Mark Hamill owns this role, and to me is the definitive Joker voice, which some might not know almost didn't happen.
Oh, Artie, I'm crushed!
During early recording productions, Tim Curry himself, who was already an established voice actor, was cast as the Joker and had already recorded a few episodes.
You killed Captain Clown. You killed Captain Clown!
But when the studio stated to the showrunners that Tim's voice was too scary for children, probably traumatized after seeing the TV miniseries It, they unfortunately had to recast him, and Mark eventually took over.
You killed Captain Clown. You killed Captain Clown!
However, recently recordings of Tim's performance surfaced online, and to be honest, finally hearing his voice as the Clown Prince of Crime, I was kind of disappointed and was not at all as terrifying as expected.
You're gonna melt just like a grilled cheese sandwich.
Which is a shame, since looking back on Tim's career, it would have been great to see him at a better potential and go full-on Pennywise in this role.
Come on up, Richie. I got a balloon for you.
But yeah, Mark Hamill is still the definitive Joker, and in this movie, the clown is in his center ring. They could have easily put him in here for fan service and Mark would have been a nice addition, but the writers made a brilliant move to establish him as part of the main story in the flashbacks, with the Joker's alter ego, Jack Napier, being a young lad as part of the mob the Phantasm is hunting down, putting the Joker's life on the line.
Oh no.
Though how the Phantasm discovers Jack Napier to be the Joker is left unexplained. Kinda reminds me of the misstep Bruce took in Tim Burton's Batman. Like everybody else, if you just flip the page, you dumb fool! And the Joker not only looks fantastic with his updated animation and is absolutely terrifying, but he does deliver a lot of laughs, balancing out a perfect tone.
Don't touch me, old man. I don't know where you've been.
Now, it does suck that Mark Hamill has decided to officially retire playing the character after the passing of Kevin Conroy, but given those two were the perfect duo, it's 100% justified. And it's good to know that their final bow as the two greatest rivals of pop culture goes out in their original character models in the new animated film adaptation of Crisis on Infinite Earths, especially with Kevin Conroy's final words as the Batman.
I care, Joker, about Gotham, about justice, and if it has to end, at least I go out like this, being Batman.
What a way to go. The rest of the cast established from the animated series have their moments to shine as well, with Alfred, Commissioner Gordon, and Bullock. And for a while, I always felt Bullock was pretty much the anti-Chief O'Hara. And while not corrupted like most of Gotham PDs, I mean, even Chief O'Hara ended up being corrupt in that Grayson fan film trailer, which, what the fuck?
You need to tell me what you know. I want him out of the equation.
Did he just have a number 2 moment with Commissioner Gordon's Dr. Evil?
I've had enough of you pushing me around.
Still, he can be pretty intimidating trying to take down the Batman as equal to the crooks he brings in. A thematic element really showcased in the film. However, it kinda sucks that other established characters aren't so present. For example, Harley Quinn, who made her first appearance in the show, as well as Robin, are nowhere to be found in this movie. Though, to be fair, Robin and Batgirl do show up in the second film, Sub-Zero, which, who knows, maybe I'll talk about that movie someday. Though it makes me wonder what exactly Robin and Harley were doing during the events of this movie.
Face it, sugar. I got something you want, and you sure as shootin' got something I want. So, be a good boy and maybe Mama will give you a cookie. The
things I do for Gotham.
The bird gets around! The movie is essentially a Batman-centered story focusing on his solo case, as well as a ton of detail on his origins prior to donning the cowl and cape, which brings us to his love interest Andrea Beaumont. The flashbacks establish their meeting and relationship, as they both share a lot in common with one another, being both solo spirits as well as their parental figures buried in the same graveyard.
Bruce?
And over time, they really begin to appreciate one another and see a future together. And for Bruce Wayne, it becomes the most conflicting choice for him, since we see him begin his career as a crime fighter.
I can't have it both ways. I can't put myself on the line as long as there's someone waiting for me to come home.
I definitely have to give huge credit to actress Dana Delany for voicing Andrea, presenting a sweet but intimidating presence in the voice. In fact, this wouldn't be the first time she would voice a love interest opposite to Bruce Wayne, let alone Clark Kent for that matter. Yeah, that's right, she's also the voice of Lois Lane in Superman the Animated Series.
Lane? Lois Lane? The one Superman always saves?
Afraid so.
I guess her performance was so good, they decided to bring her back long-term for the rest of the DC animated universe. Not a bad check, Dana.
But all the money in the world means little if you don't have loved ones to share it with.
Andrea has become one of the most interesting lovers in Batman's history, and while other characters in this movie, like the Phantasm himself, do return occasionally, I'm surprised the comics and stories don't do more with Andrea. Hell, I don't even think Vicky Vale does much anymore. Seriously, DC, some of these chicks have a lot of staying power without wearing a costume. Even Dr. Chase Meridian from Batman Forever I'd like to see again in some form. Though Chase was recently seen in the comics. Speaking of sources, there's not much to say in terms of the origins, given it's really just Warner Brothers wanting to cash in on the animated series, and the 2 Tim Burton movies. The animated series was, in fact, so successful with the first season, it made most angry parents at McDonald's ads forget about the promotional disaster of Batman Returns, and allowed Batman to stay relevant for Warner Brothers to get work on the 3rd film, which went into an entirely new direction, a subject well saved for a later time.
I'll get drive-through.
Ronald, there's something terrible on TV.
That is terrible. Let's find something better.
That's a lot better. Thanks, Ronald.
Oh, dear.
Calling Unit 4. Two-Face is heading west on. Never mind. Batman got him. Unit 6. The Joker's ramming City Hall. Never mind. Batman got him. Be advised, one action toy comes with each Batman Happy Meal you buy at McDonald's. All units be on the lookout for Catwoman. Never mind.
The price for freedom is eternal vigilance. Batman is back.
Being the first film that delves into Batman's origins before donning the cowl, it's more than likely they took elements from the comics such as Frank Miller's Batman Year One, but for Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, and others, they managed to create an original take on the origin story, and was something that did so well it's said to have influenced Christopher Nolan to an extent on his take on Bruce's origins in Batman Begins. Originally, Warner Brothers and the production were set for the film to be a direct-to-video release, one of the first of its kind before the Disney boom of video releases in the late 90s. But being so damn impressed with the production quality of the work in progress, increased the budget enough to rush a theatrical release with a change in aspect ratio and higher quality animation, and even some early CG model enhancements. However, promoting the movie, it failed to deliver.
Look for America's favorite hero this Christmas in the animated movie Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
And it turned out the direct-to-video release did better than its theatrical run, which even got the attention of Siskel and Ebert, giving it an amazing positive reception and an apology for not recommending it during its time in theaters.
Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, a Batman animated feature that was made in 1993, and Roger and I never reviewed it, and as far as I'm concerned, we made a big mistake because it's terrific.
I think that the day is coming, and it's also happening with the Disney pictures, when adults are realizing that animation is not limited to an entertainment form for children. It's interesting that they really did have a story, more of a story than the movies. And the characters, and they pause, and they think, and they have feelings and motivations, and you get involved in it.
And also, it's tight. It's 77 minutes long. Every image counts. Remember, they're spending more money in animation, maybe per minute, than they are in some live-action pictures, and they're very economically done.
So the storyline's reception seems pretty good overall. But does that apply to the animation and the action set pieces? Well, that for sure is given 100%. For one, the action scenes are fantastic for an animated movie. From the beginning of the movie, where Batman busts the mob deal, is one of the best opening entrances to any of the movies. Simple and to the point to get you started right away. This also applies to the many kills of the Phantasm, which are surprisingly dark and gritty. Probably Bronski's being the most disturbing, being buried in his own done-in grave for his crimes and being crushed by a massive tombstone. God damn, for a kids movie, this is as violent as something you'd see in the Batman. But with Batman, his most poignant action piece is where he chases down the Phantasm with the Batwing, which looks sharper and slicker than its live-action counterpart. Jumping into hand-to-hand combat with the Phantasm and eventually getting quartered by the Gotham PD in one of the most intense moments for Batman's career, being unmasked and evading being seen. It's actually kind of tense to watch at times. Your palms are as sweaty as Bullock's forehead, for God's sakes. And as for the climax, while I want to save spoilers for later, the fight with the Joker at the abandoned exhibit is brooding with punches, kicks, explosions, and chases, even down to Batman and the Joker fighting in a miniature city in the style of a Godzilla monster movie. Great stuff with some great exchanges from these two iconic rivalries.
Joker.
Even down to the nods to King Kong with the Joker model planes and a chase on the model train, which later influenced the level on the Super Nintendo game. A decent one, by the way, and much like Batman Returns, was made by Konami, and worth seeking out. Just mind its heavy prices lately.
$5 million up front with whatever you want to finish him off. What do I look like? Pest control?
With its amazing sound effects included, it also brings the animation to a whole new level, improving 1000% from the animated series, in terms of quality. It's probably due to the increased aspect ratio and the increased budget from Warner Bros. Pocket money, so kudos to the animation team for really putting in their all into the film's quality. The music, good God, is easily one of the best scores for Batman as a whole. Composed by the late but outstandingly talented Shirley Walker, who, while following her work on the animated series, actually was an assistant composer to Danny Elfman on the two Tim Burton films, for which Danny did compose the opening and closing to the first season of the animated series to adjust audiences from the films to the show. But this time around, Shirley had full reins on this movie to fully show her skills in creating themes on par with Elfman's work. The main theme is not only a new piece for Batman, but adds a perfect combination of the dark and gothic, but brutal and epic with the use of the haunting choir playing through the nightlight passages of Gotham's skyline. The theme is used to many great effects in the choir in many iconic scenes, almost too many to count. But the top two that stick out the most is when Bruce proposes to Andrea and his foreshadowed future with a swarm of bats forbid his lust of love. But the most tragic is one of the most iconic moments in any Batman movie, when Bruce makes his final choice and dons the costume for the first time, silhouetted within the Batcave as Alfred sees the monster the boy he raised has become. It's downright chilling. Sherry also manages to utilize both the old themes from the series and new themes as well, such as the main Joker theme, which adds more dread and creepiness. But the newest themes for the movie is the Phantasm's theme, which actually adds a bit of that 1950s B-movie quality with a cheesy haunting ghost piece that manages to actually send a cold shiver in the score. And much like Returns before it, the movie does add an artist to the score to provide an end song that closes the movie out, and focuses on the two lovebirds with I Never Even Told You, performed by Tia Carrere. And while not listening to it much as a kid, as an adult, I'm not gonna lie, is early 90s as hell, and it's a decent single. Because, come on, I can't resist a song with a sexy saxophone entrance. The soundtrack is available in different sources, but when it came out, was limited in tracks at the time. But was released around the same time as the movie was on VHS and Laserdisc, where it actually did good business on at the time for the highest quality video presentation pre-DVD. Which, speaking of, it took forever for Mask of the Phantasm to get a proper 4K Blu-ray release, and just recently was put out, and from what I've heard, it's a pretty good transfer. So kudos to Warner Brothers for finally giving us a higher quality version of one of the best Batman movies. But outside of home video and soundtrack releases, the movie was given a bit of a merchandising campaign at the time, tied along with the animated series, with a few games released on the latest consoles under the later title of the series, The Adventures of Batman and Robin, for which the show also followed with a new intro and outro music, replacing Danny Elfman's tracks with the theme Shirley Walker provided for Mask of the Phantasm. While the Super Nintendo variant was the most common and sought after for games, it was also released on the Game Boy, Sega Genesis, and even a Sega CD variant with cut scenes made by the show's creators and would be labeled by fans as the Lost Episode, despite most of the game being repetitive driving scenes to get to those cut scenes. There was also a toy line release for the movie by Kenner, which had exclusive action figures from the movie, including essentially the film's main spoiler with the Phantasm and the Jetpack Joker. While owning a few of these toys as part of my lineup of Batman action figures from all the movies, my personal favorite was the Batmobile, with tons of features including spiked wheels and even a secret mini bat glider in the cockpit of the car. It was a kick-ass toy for the time that I always cherished growing up, and as one of my favorite Batmobile designs in general, for which the film had a clever Easter egg in the car's origins.
Ooh, you devil.
I even had the Kenner Batcave, which was also pretty cool. But my god, did they re-release this over and over and over again? More so than, say, their Ewok village for the Robin Hood set. And if you want a really good retrospective on the history of this Batcave playset, I would highly recommend the amazing retrospective by Retro Blasting. These guys are actually really cool and have amazing toy reviews. But of course, it was McDonald's who finally found success after the panic of Batman Returns with a Happy Meal campaign for the series with a set of toys I actually still own. I have the Red Bird with Robin. Yeah, no, sometimes the thing doesn't work. And had a few copies of the Batman figure, but I've sadly lost, which looking back was a high quality set of toys, and even more high quality commercial made by the show's creators and utilized the CG city models from the movie itself.
On my way. Robin, meet me at the Gotham City McDonald's.
There's always something that makes me laugh whenever Kevin says that line. Play it again.
Robin, meet me at the Gotham City McDonald's.
Honestly, can you imagine being in the recording studio that day and watching Kevin Conroy say with a straight face,
Robin, meet me at the Gotham City McDonald's.
And everybody busting their bat balls trying not to laugh.
Robin, meet me at the Gotham City McDonald's.
It's too funny! It's too funny! I'm sorry! Man, I really gotta fix the bugs in this AI. What's the last line in the commercial?
Why have they been in there so long?
They're probably just toying with us, Robin.
Less on the pun at the end. And as you can see on this marketing from the Happy Meal promotion, that is how they marketed the movie. It was so poorly managed, it's no wonder why it flopped at the box office.
Oh, I should have known.
But with that said, this movie is a sheer masterpiece in crime drama and storytelling. But is there anything that lowers it down to a degree? Well, to be honest, no, not really. The movie is actually kind of perfect and worth all the praise it gets. And I can't find anything really massive to talk about in problems other than a few nitpicks. The biggest being the fact that Batman's appearances are, to be honest, kind of brief to a degree, and it makes you ask for a teeny tiny bit more. But to be honest, with how much backstory they need to tell, it balances out, and other than that missing characters like Robin, or the bastardization of Bullock as almost villainous, is a tad annoying like I said before. But again, not enough time to showcase given it's more so a solo Batman story that wraps up and closes a lot of this incarnation of the character's roots in an explosive climax. Which means, once again, people, it's time to talk about spoilers.
Hey! Snape kills Dumbledore.
Because in this case, the climax showcases a lot of the movie's overall story, with tons of twists and turns, and a pretty dark ending. Probably one of the darkest endings next to Batman Returns. Throughout the film and Bruce's flashbacks, we know more about how and why Andrea left Bruce Wayne, and her overall commission to the story as a whole, where it turns out the ghostly Phantasm was actually Andrea the whole time.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch! What? It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
A twist that, to be honest, not many people saw coming. We are threaded to believe that it's actually Andrea's father behind the Phantasm's mask, killing mobsters and framing Batman to get out with her father scot-free.
Stay away. This is not your fight.
But by the climax, we see that her father was actually sold off to the mob and killed when they were hiding, leaving only Andrea to fight the battle for Gotham's soul and seek justice and revenge with the rules Batman will not follow. While Batman and Andrea's arguments can get a tad cocky throughout the film, it makes up for it with Andrea breaking down on Batman as the two leave each other in a standstill with one of the best set of lines in any Batman movie.
Look what they did to us! What we could have had! They had to pay!
But Andy, what will vengeance solve?
If anyone knows the answer to that, Bruce, it's you.
My God, is that cold?
Cool party.
Stay in your lane, Freeze. We'll get to you someday.
And I really want to apologize.
But with the Joker tied to it all, it ends in an all-out brawl filled with fly-high stunts as the abandoned city of the future is rigged with explosives going off like crazy, and the Joker showcasing his most iconic laugh of any Bat media. It's tragic, sad, and epic to see Bruce go through the ringer in trying to recapture the Joker, but also losing the love of his life in the process. Kind of. His final scene is after he discovers her locket, and Andrea admitting on a ship that she is destined to walk this world alone as a phantom and shadow to save her friends and loved ones, leaving Batman to continue his war with Gotham for many years to come. I got nothing else to say. That ending is pitch perfect. Like an angel's kiss. But with that being said, this movie is awesome and one of the best in the character's 85-year history. Overall, Batman Mask of the Phantasm is an animated masterpiece, hands down, bar none, and one of the finest stories of the Caped Crusaders' legacy. With high-quality animation, a banger set of action set pieces, a steamy but sad love story, some amazing gothic baddies filled with an ensemble cast, and a haunting score that rivals the best composers for the Caped Crusader, it brings out the best of the best, and it's no wonder Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson praised the film and had the animated series as a whole be a template for the latest incarnation of the character and his world. And for me, this movie is the pinnacle of the entire run of the animated series, giving it as a whole a proud 10 out of 10. It's not just one of the best Batman movies of all time, but I'll even say it's one of the best of its genre, a staple and prime source of comic book movies over 30 years since its debut from the streets of Gotham City. But But of course I want to hear your thoughts on Batman Mask of the Phantasm and the overall animated series in the comments below. I know this year's Halloween videos are a little off in tradition, but that's only due to our tight schedule until the OG comes back. So until the next video, guys, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, saying Happy Halloween 2020. Project T84 is inevitable. What the hell is wrong with me? Strange. This is our normal meetup spot. Must be pretty busy after all that's gone down. Shit!
I thought I saw her ass.
Oh, hello there. Sorry, kitty. I don't do stress.
Don't call me.
Oh! Right in the bat balls. God.
So you're the guy that brought us all uptown Toronto.
You're the cat who took out the snipers and stealthers on the rooftop. Thanks. Without you, the mission would have been a failure.
Well, if me and the sirens didn't help, everyone you saved would have been dead. Or like me, deeply imprisoned.
Well, speaking of hot leather tight jumpsuits, I could actually use your help. I have an appointment with, Ham.
Don't waste your time. Him and his flyers have had their hands full after what you pulled. Every crook and Ogden's been out on the streets ever since the battle. Even if I knew where to find him, you wouldn't be able to unless he wanted you to.
Well, might as well shine a light on him. Let's go. Hey, I guess we're going this way. Look, man, I've been clean for years. What the hell do you want?
What I always want from this stitch. Information. You know every criminal here in Gotham. All have been accounted for, save 2. I want to know where Harvey is.
What do I look like, the voting polls? I haven't worked for Harvey in years. Even if I did,
You want to talk smack? You picked a bad night for it.
I swear to God, I haven't worked for Harvey in years. Please, I'm about to fall. I think that'll be enough. There's nothing more this punk could tell us. Let that rat run. best be running, boy. You got it, boss! I'm out of here!
Selena.
Bad boy.
Diet Coke? What? What's that offer? I didn't steal them. So no sign of Harvey since I was last here, eh?
Not a word. Nothing.
It's not like him to be gone this long. Have you checked with anyone else?
I sent them out after the Battle of Toronto. He wasn't in the squabble either.
I hate to break it to you, but Toronto's trying to be Gotham for all the wrong reasons.
God, I'll take Cobblepot over Ford at this point. They actually have the same tailor, but eyes on the ball, kitty. Anyone else?
Don't come.
Robin, Nightwing, Oracle. They all came up short. I even tried contacting the League. They couldn't even find him.
Figures. I bet he died in the explosion.
I wouldn't be so sure of that. I picked it up on its good side. If he's alive, it means he ran off and bailed during Gotham's draft list at the battle. You might be right. Dent's still out there. By the way, any updates on my new mechanics for the machine?
Is that why you came all the way here?
Well then, to thank you guys for all your help during the fight. That and wiring funding from Wayne Enterprises to help me out and keep myself going forward. Really appreciate it.
All the parts have been shipped to you. I've even updated the software to voice command for better security.
This is the same tech used on the Batmobile. Frickin' sweet, dude! I owe you one. Look at Carl to install it right away. You know, I should pay a real visit to Gotham City someday. I mean, on some days it can actually be pretty peaceful. Why does he always do that?
Well, you know his habits, and you know mine. I know Gotham looks good, but I don't think it's going to be fixed anytime soon, especially now that Arkham has less beds to fill.
Well, post-Great War, I imagine you guys will be pretty busy. I'll come back and clean up if need be. I owe you guys anyway.
Thanks, but no thanks. I've got a rat with wings to chase.
Why do all the beds need